Parliament's opposition parties have resolved to put measures in place to strengthen the arm of Parliament and holding the executive of the country to account. Opposition parties held a meeting earlier today and they agreed to ensure the convergence so that parliamentary processes are watertight in holding the executive to account. Well, for more on some of the issues discussed in the meetings is the African Transformation Movement President Vuyolwethu Zungula. Thank you so much indeed for joining us and welcome to the program.
Evening, Peter, and evening to your viewers.
Oris, give us a sense of what came through these discussions and what you managed to agree.
Look, Peter, what is important is that people must know that oversight is really the purview of opposition parties. You will recall that last year, a member of the ANC tried to provide oversight over President Ramaphosa by asking Scopa to summon Ramaphosa to account for his statement that he was aware of public funds being used for ANC conferences. That member was subsequently suspended and removed from the National Assembly by the ANC. Therefore, our call that opposition parties must collaborate more and work together on the issues of oversight. It is really because it is only the opposition that can provide effective oversight. Individually, the parties have been trying their own means and ways. However, they've been frustrated by the Speaker, and there have been a lot of processes that have been delayed by the Speaker. However, we believe that when opposition parties are working together, there might be positive, in fact, we are definite that there will be positive outcomes from that working together. So that is why opposition parties have come together to say, let us hold Ramaphosa accountable for one, the performance, his performance on governing the country. You look at the state of criminality in our country, the unemployment, the state of the selling of the SOEs, and the general unhappiness of the citizens of our country. The other element is the element of criminality that results from the issue of pala. We note that, there's public protector who is busy doing an investigation. We note the other institutions that have been delaying. Look, Peter, it does not take 2 months for SARS to say the monies that were exchanging hands in Pala were declared and the relevant taxes were paid. However, it's been 2 months and nothing has been happening, simply because all of the other institutions from your Hawks, NPA, all of the other institutions, they are dependent on Ramaphosa for employment. However, opposition parties are not at the mercy of Ramaphosa. That is why it's critical for opposition parties to come together and provide effective oversight.
All right, so you're saying that the police are not doing their job, the NPA, the public protectors busy on this case at this time, they are all dawdling because they're doing the president favors? Definitely.
Look, the issue of foreign currency, everyone knows what the rules are when it comes to holding foreign currency. Does it take 2 months for that respective institution to come outright and state what the law is and what transpired in Pala? Also on the issue of SARS, if there was any proof that Ramaphosa indeed did declare those monies and the relevant taxes were paid, and SARS was well aware of the of the transactions, SARS would have already communicated to the public that here is a proof that indeed everything that happened in Pala was above board. Most importantly, if you look at how Hawks is handling the matter, they are even refusing to state that they are investigating Ramaphosa. They just say an investigation is held. Now, that gives us an impression that all of these institutions, they've chosen Ramaphosa instead of principle. They've chosen Ramaphosa instead of the country, which is South Africa. So that is why we as the opposition parties are coming together to rescue South Africa from a situation whereby if a person is president, then it means he can commit whatever crimes, and all of the institutions that are dependent on him for appointment, those institutions will actually defend him. They will do whatever it is in their power to actually shield Ramaphosa from accountability. So what we're doing as opposition parties, it is rescuing South Africa so that South Africa has leadership that is governed by principle. All of the actions that are taken, especially when it comes to public representatives, it is actions that are based on principle.
All right. Mr. Zungula, how are you going to do this? Are you planning to change processes in Parliament? Can you do this with a minority vote?
Look, as opposition parties, you have read the statement. It is currently 9 opposition parties working together. We believe that we need to collaborate as opposition parties. Now, when we collaborate, we've got a much more stronger voice than when we are speaking alone as the 9 different parties. We believe that the mechanisms that are there in Parliament, when it comes to the Section 89 impeachment process, questions and answers, motion of no confidences, all of the mechanisms that are there in Parliament, they require a stronger and more united opposition. So that is why we are collaborating to be much more effective when it comes to holding the executive accountable.
But do you have enough numbers, I guess is the question I'm asking you, even if you all came together and agreed, yes, you have a stronger voice, but can that voice do anything against the majority party?
Definitely it will, I can guarantee you that. That is why even the Speaker has been rejecting the secret ballot, because they know when members vote with their conscience and they will not be subjected to any intimidation from their own party, they are going to vote in support of this motion, because everyone can see how under Ramaphosa, unemployment is at its highest level. The GDP to debt ratio is at debt to GDP ratio is at its highest level. If you look at the issues of the failing SOEs, how Ramaphosa is selling SOEs, all members of the ANC actually do attest that under the leadership of Ramaphosa, nothing is positive in our country. You've heard ministers, you've heard even premiers talking about how the governance of Ramaphosa is not bringing any joy for the people of our country. However, they are stuck because their party, if it is an open ballot, will dictate as to how they should vote. However, via secret ballot, members will vote in line with their conscience and what they see and what they aspire South Africa to be. So that is why we are going to push as well that the manner in which Ramaphosa must be held accountable, it must also be via a secret ballot, because it is the only way to protect members of Parliament from victimization and intimidation from their own party.
Have you given yourselves a timeline? What sort of outcome are you trying to get to?
Most importantly is that Ramaphosa must account for Phala, because we need to send a strong message that whoever occupies that presidential seat, it must be a person that can have confidence from opposition parties, the judiciary, civil society. Now, to have a person who is accused of money laundering, tax evasion, the kidnapping and torturing of women, that as opposition parties, we can never agree to. We can never allow a situation whereby thugs are actually in control of our country, because it means our country will be compromised. And the decisions that are taken, for example, who would be confident to say that the appointment that have been done by Ramaphosa for the past couple of months or since 2020 have not been done to protect him from, accounting on Phala. The appointment of the Chief Justice, the appointment of the police commissioner, who gets even the suspension of Advocate Mkhwebane, who can confidently say that all of those suspensions and appointments were not influenced by the fact that he had some crimes that he may have committed. So as opposition parties, we want South Africa to be a better country. And for that to happen, the leader or the president of the country must give confidence. It must not be a person that is mired in such scandalous transgressions to the law. So that is why we are adamant, and we are we are not going to be swayed. We are not going to be made to believe that this is wrong, because accountability is the one thing that will make South Africa a better place. So the timelines will communicate in the press conference next Wednesday.
All right, that's where we'll leave it for today, but thank you so much indeed for explaining your position and what you're trying to do as the opposition grouping. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.